Hopefully I can articulate this. Wanted to talk about autism and the spectrum of autism from the highly impacted, like, diapers for the rest of their life, dependent on the system completely, never able to make a functional contribution to our society. So that's like one spectrum. Then there's the other end of the spectrum, which we all know is autism acceptance. And this is meant the way we are, this genetic disposition, and we are hyper focused and they're, super like intelligent in many different pockets. And that's, I guess, one end of the high functioning spectrum. And I am not saying this as like fact completely, just my understanding of this. And that's all this video is. I feel the need to express this, and you're going to understand in a minute. So there's this huge spectrum from autism acceptance, which is like, excuse me, we're over here and we're never going to have a functional life ever. Everything's all, crazy, and somebody has to sacrifice in ways that you people over here have no idea about. And you people over here are, equally as okay, whatever, on that whole thing. I think you get the idea. But what I want to express to you is there is a whole bunch of middle ground here where there's people that are actually moderately to that spectrum between mild and moderate functioning. And it can be from any kind of a situation, like a brain injury, from a hokey pokey donut. It can be what we are terming genetic. It can be a combination of things, but you have the diagnosis of Ronaruski, and you're trying to function in life, and you've had children or whatnot, and you didn't wake up to the whole heavy metal dumping and influx of all these things that should never be in a sacred human. But here we are. Anyways, the mild to moderate functioning autism is what I want to talk about, where people can graduate from high school, graduate from college, not ever be able to drive, or not getting the certificate in high school, getting through high school, it being bumpy, but there being enough special ed supports and systemic support so they could get through, even though it's possible that they didn't really learn the juice, the stuff that we all learn, the programming. But some of it is important to know to navigate in this realm, like the whole sexual stuff. I'm going to leave that for another video. But this population, we are in for a whole, setup for the whole chatbot AI stuff, because people's normal relationships have been hijacked in this mild to moderate range. And many can't get jobs. They can't just go apply for a job because possibly they can't write very well or they can't read enough, but they can do other things really, really well. But what are they going to do? There's got to be a support network behind them. And so this setup, I feel like, for this whole AI stuff coming in and the precision medicine, where we're going to be helped, or this population, this mild to moderate, is going to be helped. And in many ways, it's a freaking relief that there's tools out there, for instance, texting and talk to text, that someone that might not be able to function otherwise can actually get by with a mild to moderate autism. But they still can't find a job, or they can't drive. And so there's a support network around that. And who's making the sacrifices to support that? And these are the things that I see happening that are kind of in conjunction with the biodigital convergence. And nobody's like looking at all the pieces of the timeline over the years of how this has step by step kind of come into come into being. And it's so we're all so separated and disconnected with our systems of care that we can't see that we're kind of being pushed into this dependence on technology and this glorifying of rearranging our genetics and possibly curing cancer or whatnot with precision medicine, when it's really outsourcing a lot of what we already can do with our bodies. And our biofield is a big piece of that. That's like the linchpin in understanding what's happened over the years. How we've, from the Flexner report or whenever they came in and decided, we can't do it this way. We can't have all this hooky pooky. We have to go into more technical physicality and really solid. That's what we have. We can't have the naturalists, the people that are standing with their bare feet on the earth, using tuning forks and sounding bowls and healing themselves. We can't have that. That's not solid, because we have this whole industrial revolution thing over here where people are going to work in factories and they're making money, and it's everything steering that way. So anyways, I think you guys get it. But in order to do that, they needed to kind of take away the awareness that we have more than just our physicality. We have this whole biofield around us, electromagnetic field, that is like what I call the energetics of everything, the unseen, so to speak. Well, apparently, and come to find out, it's actually a real thing. And you can go read The Body Electric by Robert Becker, which I have in the bedroom. I'm planning to read it while I'm on this little journey that I'm on right now with some family members. So anyways, I wanted to come on here and talk about that middle ground of autism, to mild to moderate, where they're not in the state where they are just, I want to cry when I talk about it, because I have friends that have kids that may never get out of diapers. That's the reality. And those parents love those freaking kids more than you fall in love. This is not something where we need to we need to give credit for the energetic aspects of it, the electromagnetic field and how it's been hijacked. And we've been made to seem crazy if we can't conform to this complete state of physicality and fit into these boxes and siloed ways of doing things. That's the AI. That's this external thing that we all think is out there. There's some all-knowing thing out there that is running this whole thing, that I can't go into it too much on that level, but I think those of you that are meant to hear that will. We're outsourcing our internal locus of control that I know personally has always been there. And when I understood about the biofield, it kind of made sense. All the behaviors I've had over the years, all the compulsive behavior, all the ADHD, all seeking to get back in balance, find some kind of biofield concurrence, some state of being where I felt actually okay in this realm, because I apparently I'm super sensitive and feel a lot. And I shoved that over for years and years with all kinds of stuff, with medications. That was probably the worst one. And I don't live with regret, because here I am talking to you about it. I was on SSRIs for many, many years, off and on. I was pregnant, I'd go off them. I got, had the kids and, the stress of everything, and thinking it was some kind of genetic thing where I had this natural inclination towards postpartum depression, and I needed these meds. And it was, I guess, what I had to go through. But it kind of didn't engage me in the way that I wouldn't be here talking to you probably without the meds. But I'm off them now, and I'm telling you, it's a whole different way of operating. A whole different way. It's like living a different life, to be honest. And of course, that kind of numbed me out to allow myself to fall into a lot of addiction and just really dysfunctional, unhealthy behavior that was not moving towards a higher space, but all had a purpose. And I know now my biofield was effed. I couldn't I couldn't pull myself together. No executive functioning. I was living from like trauma to trauma imprint to like you magnetize that stuff. It's like a magnet, and we are a magnet, and we draw it to us. So being able to break out of that with cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, finally getting a little peace of mind with some cannabis, went and got my medical card, and that really changed a lot because finally I had what I understand now is some like coherence in my biofield. I was able to calm down enough to slow down to see what I was doing, gain the wisdom from the knowledge that I had, because I've always like, I've had these areas of knowledge, but I haven't been able to kind of like get any cohesion from it. So here I am talking to you about, what am I talking about? Oh, yeah. Yes, middle ground autism, mild to moderate. Yeah. Anyways, and I hate saying anyways, but this is as authentic as I can get. I had a timeout. I'm not in the freaking car, and I'm here talking to y'all. And it's really important to understand this whole electromagnetic field that we have, and how we've been preyed upon, and how we can start to feel our own skin. And I will shout out to Sabrina Wallace for really helping me understand that. It's not like you have to jump up and do anything. You can think back to the times when you did feel your own skin. You did feel actually in your body, engaged and electrified and magnified in your life. You were listening to music, you were dancing, you were singing, you were smoking pot. I don't know, whatever it was. Stop judging it as right or wrong and realize what the freak you were doing. Like my daughter, who would have some kind of autism diagnosis along with TSC, on a swing, like always loved to go to the swings, into her 20s, that motion. And somebody said to me, she's regulating her neurological system. And I thought, aha, but now I know it's her biofield, and it all clicks. And it clicks why we've kind of been led astray. So it's really heartbreaking, but it's also important to understand these concepts, and they're documentable. And I'll put links down below this video because I feel really strongly about this. Yeah. Anyways, I had to say it.